we're going to take a close look at a presidential executive order that's gotten a lot of attention. It connects a really tragic crime to a much larger national debate. We're going to stick to the facts, using the official document itself to understand what this order is, exactly what it says, and what it actually does.
So first off, what even is an executive order? Well, it's a formal directive from the president, something they have the constitutional authority to issue. Now, it's not a law passed by Congress, but for the federal government, it basically has the force of law. It's one of the main tools the president has to manage how the government operates.
Okay, here's our game plan for breaking this all down. We'll start with the official details of the order itself. Then, we have to look at the heartbreaking events that led to it. After that, we'll get into the exact purpose stated in the document, see the specific action it commands, and wrap up with a look at the legal fine print.
All right, first things first, let's just look at the official act itself, the nuts and bolts of the document that set the stage for everything else.
Here are the core details, right from the source. The official number is Executive Order 14229. The title is Honoring Jocelyn Nungaray. It was signed by President Donald J. Trump on March 4, 2025, and then officially published a few days later on March 10th. Simple as that. This is the what, the who, and the when.
But to really understand the why behind this order, we need to step back and look at the tragic context it came from. This is about a specific event that really shook a lot of people.
At the heart of this order is Jocelyn Nungaray, a 12-year-old girl from Houston, Texas. Her death is the direct and explicit reason for this presidential action.
This timeline lays out the sequence of events factually. You can see that in March and May of 2024, the two men who were later charged in the case were apprehended and then released. A few weeks later, on June 17th, Jocelyn Nungaray's body was found. Just 3 days after that, the suspects were arrested. The executive order we're looking at was signed about 9 months later.
Okay, so now let's turn to the executive order itself and see how it frames these events. Section 1 is where the purpose and policy are laid out, and the language used here is really key.
Now, this is a direct quote from the order. I'm just reading the text here. It makes a very clear political statement directly blaming what it calls open border policies for her death. This sentence right here provides the official justification for the entire order.
And the order doesn't stop there. It goes on to make several other key claims. It says the previous administration's policies put the nation in danger, that the southern border was, quote, overrun by criminal groups, and it specifically identifies the two men charged as Venezuelan illegal aliens. Finally, it wraps up by stating that honoring Jocelyn's memory is in the national interest.
So, after laying out that whole political framework, the order pivots to its specific tangible action. Section 2 is really the core directive. It's what the order actually does.
And here it is, plain and simple. The order directs that the Anahuac National Wildlife Refuge, which is located near Jocelyn's home in Texas, be officially renamed. The new name is the Jocelyn Nungaray National Wildlife Refuge. This is the concrete, real-world outcome of the order.
The order doesn't just say, change the name either. It gets very specific, laying out the exact steps for the government to follow. It tells the Secretary of the Interior they have 30 days to start updating procedures. They have to take all the necessary actions to officially rename the refuge, make sure her life is permanently commemorated there, and get all federal records, maps, documents, you name it, updated to reflect the new name.
All right, now for the last part of the document, Section 3. You know, most executive orders have a section like this. It's usually called General Provisions, and it's basically the legal fine print that spells out the order's limits. This part is pretty standard stuff. It clarifies that the order doesn't just override existing laws or the powers of other government agencies. It has to be carried out using money that's already available. And this last one is really important. It says the order doesn't create any new legal right that someone could sue over in court. It's basically a list of what the order doesn't do.
So if we bring it all together, what we really have here is a document that does two things at once. On one hand, it's a powerful political statement about immigration policy, tying it directly to a specific tragic event. And on the other hand, it's a straightforward administrative order that takes the concrete step of creating a national memorial by renaming a federal property. And this all leaves us with a much bigger question to think about. When a national memorial is created through a political act like this one, it kind of makes you wonder, how do our national memorials, whether they're parks, statues, or buildings, reflect not just our shared values and our tragedies, but also our politics?